Taylor Swift is facing intense backlash after it was announced that she'll take part in an interview with an Oscar-winning director to discuss their experiences of the job. So I'll read this, but basically All Too Well is like, it's a short film that tells a story. So you could have longer films and people who've made films with higher paid actors, but in the end, Taylor Swift made a film, just like other people made a film. She directed the film, she wrote the film, she starred in the film, or she didn't star in the film, but she had actors in the film. It was a film, okay? And in the same way that, like, people bought tickets to see, like, the movie that was playing in the theaters, people logged onto YouTube to watch and analyze Taylor Swift's film that had social impact and was a real film. So the fact that, like, other directors are saying, we don't respect this and we have shit to say, this is another thing. Like, if only there were equitable opportunities for other women, even white women are still women, to direct films and tell stories, then maybe they could have more directors who had shit to say. But no, like, so many people they gate-kept everything until songwriters are now movie directors because all of the other directors are so bad. They're putting out things that are so awful. How is, like, Brad Pitt's production company with 12 Years a Slave doing better than some of you guys who are actually in fucking Hollywood? It's insane. He took a chance on black people, and you know what? Africa won again. All I can say is, I told you so. Boop, 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 boop. Also, insert Arya Star. Shout out to Arya Star, because maybe I'll make a whole video just about my feelings on Arya Star. I love her, but Africa is rising. So let's just read what was written. So many talented directors who are there because of years of struggles in honing the craft of filmmaking. And then there's Taylor Swift being parachuted thanks to some sort of privilege. That's not true. Taylor Swift definitely, this is not her first time directing one of her music videos. She's directed so many of them, okay? And then she did the same work that they did, and so they shouldn't. Man, some people really believe, like, oh, if you're in Hollywood, if you're in Los Angeles and you turn on a camera, it's different from somebody who's in Massachusetts and turns on a camera, or someone who's in Ethiopia and turns on a fucking camera. A film is a film is a film is a film. This is ridiculous. Off of the back of this Actors on Actors series, Variety just announced the lineup of filmmakers who will be taking part in this year's Directors on Directors collection. In case you aren't familiar with the series, two directors, typically who've both released projects in the last year, are given the opportunity to interview one another about their careers. This year, 12 directors will pair up and sit for the video interviews, including James Cameron, Robert Rodriguez, Sarah Polley, and Francis Ford Coppola. However, leading the charge in the premiere episode on December 12th will be Taylor Swift alongside Academy Award winner and two-time nominee Martin McDowell. If you're not a fan of Taylor's, you might be wondering how the singer has made her way onto such a prestigious lineup of directors, but don't worry, you aren't alone. Taylor Swift will be there to discuss All Too Well, the short film, the 15-minute music video starring Dylan O'Brien and Sadie Sink that she directed to accompany the release of her song of the same name. Since its release in November last year, the short film has garnered major acclaim among both fans and critics, with Taylor even presenting the project at Toronto International Film Festival back in September. This and the fact that she's only an Oscar and Tony away from EGOT status has prompted the widespread assumption that Taylor is hoping to bag an Academy Award for the project, and therefore taking part in Directors on Directors is the next logical step to stir up some buzz before the nominations are announced next month. With all this in mind, plenty of people are still not pleased with the news that Taylor will be featured in the series, with hundreds of users taking to Twitter to react to the announcement. One of the primary concerns among fans was that Taylor could be depriving other directors of some much-needed exposure and opportunity to platform their work. That doesn't make sense. Literally talking about how the one opportunity will be taken away from someone if someone is, like, awarded that opportunity. This is kind of like that Nicki Minaj debate, right? Where they put Nicki Minaj in the pop category, even though she made a rap song. And she made basically the easiest rap song that she could make that would win. Like, I feel like what she was trying to do this year was basically get a Grammy for a rap song in the rap category, because she's a fucking rapper. But there are so many years that have gone by where so many of her other songs that deserved the win did not win, which doesn't fucking make any sense. So trying to push songs into other categories to give other artists an opportunity to win in that category, it's shifting the goalpost in order for the desired person to win. Because the interesting thing is, every single opportunity has cascading effects. So like, if I get a job, that means that there was a job to get, as in like there's a reward for the job. The reward for most jobs is money, and then you get to use the money to do with what you want. But in spaces like entertainment, it's accolades and awards, and by having those, you get more notoriety, which makes people more familiar with your work, and it causes your work to be more respected. It's kind of interesting though, because now in some cases the accolades are like views, which are leading to commercial success in terms of marketing, and so you get more money in terms of like ad revenue. So now it's kind of like influencers are their own brands and are able to capitalize directly off of that, when in the past they would have to go through like third-party marketing firms. So it's kind of an interesting shift of shit. So someone says, no disrespect, but come on, Variety, one person wrote. Taylor Swift made a music video short film. How about inviting a filmmaker who's been struggling for a while, who might really need some additional shine to their project for themselves as filmmakers?
Okay, next stop in 15 minutes. Hayward
I just don't think that that's an argument to be made. The best film should win, and Taylor made a film worthy of like critical acclaim, and so therefore like she should be rewarded for that, despite the fact that the other losers who are not getting exposure are not getting exposure. I've said this once and I'll say it a million times. The most talented people will rise to the top despite all of the other bullshit. The nepotism, the meritocracy, the white supremacy, the class, the friendships, the allies, like whatever it is, as we see, be Beyonce and build your own table. At the same note, be Taylor Swift and build your own table. These are people who've built platforms for themselves out of fucking nothing. Talk about started from the fucking bottom. Be Drake, build your own fucking table. That's why you see these artists like Frank Ocean, Drake, The Weeknd are no longer submitting their work to these like festivals, because the festivals aren't holding meaning. Like, there are people who critique art. Like, we have lots of YouTubers now who are like art critics. There are people who were art critics in other sense, where maybe they were writing before, but now they're doing it on YouTube. And so a lot of us are like hyper aware consumers. Like, it's not just about like pop charts in terms of like, oh, who gets the most number of streams. Maybe artists care about that, but even these like high number streamers aren't producing any money, because you don't make money from streams. You make money from people actually liking and wanting to engage in your work. So having genuine fans who actually care about you as a person and your story, who you are as a human. That's what this is. It's called meaningful engagement, and I've written about that in depth. So if you're confused about that and you'd like me to make a video about meaningful engagement, I suppose I can, but it is very strange. Like, Taylor Swift deserves that nomination, and I hope that Taylor Swift does get an EGOT, because she deserves that as well. At the end of the day, I believe she's very talented, but I do still agree with what Kanye said. The year that she won the Grammy, Beyonce deserved to win it. So the people who are being critics and are trying to talk about like, oh, well, we should give the award to this person because of blah, blah, blah. No, you should actually give the award to whoever deserves the award, despite your personal feelings around who should win. And that's just real.